Well, thank you so much for joining me on this journey of how to understand your Bible. We're kind of moving into a new phase. Here we are on session 20. Can you believe it? We're moving into a new phase, and really we're calling this part how to study your Bible. Hopefully up to this point in our journey, you're at a spot, if you've enjoyed these videos and have been watching them or sharing them with friends, hopefully you're at a spot where you know that you're trying to choose a good paper Bible in a translation that you can understand as your daily reader, and that you've been equipped with a lot of good information to make a really educated choice as to which Bible translation should I choose as you sit down to just read it and not get distracted with having to look up these different words and phrases and look up meanings. That's going to come later. That's definitely a part of the study process. But for now, my goal or my aim is that we'd be able to find a translation we can really understand, we make an educated decision, and we just sit down, we start reading it. And so maybe you decide, okay, this week I'm going to read the Gospel of Matthew. So you've got 5, 6, 7 days to read the Gospel of Matthew. You just read the story, and it's in a translation that you're getting it. You're understanding what's going on. You're in the context and all of that stuff because the translators are helping you with that journey. Or you sit down and you read all of Colossians or all of Philippians or something like that. You become comfortable with the story. That's what my goal is. That's my hope for you. How do you understand your Bible? You do that. You read it, and you read it in a translation that you can understand. And then once you kind of get the flow, the next step is to really begin to study. And how we do that is, there's a lot of different ways to study, but let's start with a good study Bible. So hopefully you it's helpful to find the apps and the websites and the different platforms where you can sort of look at all kinds of different translations to help you make a wise decision as to what translation do I want to purchase in a paper Bible, because I'm an advocate for that, and I'm challenging you to consider doing that. But what paper Bible should you buy, and a study Bible at that? Well, study Bibles are brilliant. So I want to encourage you, land on a translation and then spend the money, invest in a good study Bible in that translation. And study Bibles are designed to give you all the information you need to understand context and tradition and history and language issues and all kinds of stuff that goes into a study Bible to answer those questions and give you layer upon layer of understanding. Their goal is to help you understand what it is that you're reading. There's a lot of study Bibles to choose from. You can find a study Bible in just about every translation available, to be honest with you. I mean, just go to Amazon or go to christianbook.com or some other place where you would choose to buy a study Bible, and you're going to find that there's a study Bible in just about every translation that you may want. And here is some helpful information on how to use a study Bible. You may be amazed if you've never even considered what goes into a study Bible. I want to encourage you with some specifics today of how to really use your study Bible. The reason they're brilliant is because they have emphasis on devotionals and aspects that are in a study Bible to help you grow. Now, again, there's 1,000 to choose from, or more, of course, but my point is that some of them are actually geared towards a specific audience. So you may find a study Bible that's geared towards, like, it's a men's study Bible, or it's a ladies' study Bible, or a teen study Bible, or maybe it's a study Bible geared towards anxiety and stress or something like that. That just means that in addition to it being a basic study Bible with all of the components that are sort of expected in a study Bible, there's also devotionals, and maybe there's longer writings or readings on a specific topic to encourage the reader. And those are wonderful too, but I want to just focus on a study Bible that's going to give you context and history and all that kind of stuff and explain passages along the way. So when you've chosen your study Bible, what I would love for you to do is read the front material of that Bible. Now that may sound boring and silly, but I promise you, it's amazing. You'll be amazed at what is in the front matter, or the front cover portion of your Bible. It's going to give you the translation philosophy, which is going to dig down and give you more layers than I did just in sort of our surface overview of the two major philosophies. They're going to give you their translation philosophy and how they chose to bring the Hebrew and Aramaic and Greek into modern language, and why did they choose to render certain words and phrases the way they did. That's important stuff to know. And they're going to tell you about these important abbreviations of certain words that they're going to use as you begin to read the study notes, and you're going to find all these abbreviations, and you might wonder, what does that even mean? They're going to tell you what those words mean. We'll talk a little bit about those in future sessions as well. And then they're going to give you brilliant overviews and summaries of things that are important to know in biblical themes and biblical history. They might give you details about maps, so that you can see what we're talking about. Where is Moses walking, and where's Abraham going, and where's Judea when Jesus is going through the Galilee and into Judea? And where is all that? They're going to give you maps, and you can begin to see where that fits here on Earth, on the planet, compared to Google Maps, and see what the modern day equivalents are on your own. But they're going to give you those maps and charts about how things work together. Brilliant charts, like for example, something called the Harmony of the Gospels is pretty common, where if I read a story in Matthew, is it in Mark, Luke, and John? And are they different or whatever? It's going to tell you. And so if you read the story in Matthew, you can also find it in these other Gospels where Jesus is telling the same parable recorded from a different author. Those kind of things are brilliant because you can go back and forth and read the different accounts. So those are beautiful things inside of a study Bible that are going to help you. They're going to make sense of how the Old and New Testament work together and tie together. There's also going to be important notes about what certain things mean and how they bring things into the text. And what I mean by that is, why are there asterisks, those little stars? Why are there asterisks with some words? Or maybe why are some words italicized? Why are some of them in bold text? Why are some of them offset? Why are some words like Lord in all caps? They explain that. And it's good for you to know, because that way, as you read through the text, you're noticing, oh, this is bold, or this is italics, or whatever. It means something. And it tells you something about what they're bringing from the original language into the text. And now you're more educated as you just read through a story, because you took the time to know what are they conveying by changing the fonts in the texts, or not the fonts, but they're changing the text stuff. So that's important to know. And that's all in the front portion of your Bible. And after you've read the front material, this is where you're ready to just dive in and just start reading. Start reading the text. And then as you open a book, like let's say you open the Gospel of John, for example, you're going to find that there's an introduction to pretty much, most study Bibles have an introduction to pretty much every single book. They might even have summary of Old Testament, summary of New Testament, types and shadows and images, or historical stuff, but certainly to each book. So you open the Gospel of John, you're gonna, at the very beginning, you're gonna find author and date, who is John and what do we know about him, and the dating of the book. When do we know this was written, or what do we know about the date that this was written? What's the overall theme of John? Who is he writing to? Who's the audience that John is writing to? What's the purpose of the book? What's the occasion? What's going on when John's writing it? Where is he? What is he doing? And then the background, some important background material to help you understand it. And then of course, like I said, maps and charts that are specific to what John writes about. And it's so important. Then you'll find an outline usually as well in most study Bibles for each book of the Bible. Now, I'm not telling you to spend hours there, but what I am saying is if you will take the time to certainly at least read about the author, the date, the audience, the purpose and occasion of each of those books, you're going to go into John with your eyes wide open, and you're going to get way more out of what John is talking about in his gospel than if you weren't, if you didn't read it. You will be thankful that you do. So how do you study your Bible? How do you understand your Bible? By knowing these kinds of things. Take the time to read it. Just incorporate it into your daily reading. Maybe you read about the author and then you continue to read chapter 1, 2, and 3, or whatever you're going to do, but go through that. And then you're ready to move into reading the text. So now you're reading the text, and you're going to notice that a good study Bible is going to have notes all over the margins. There are going to be footnotes, and there's going to be even study notes at the bottom. And at first glance, it may seem pretty overwhelming to say, wow, there's so much going on this text, and maybe the actual biblical text is really small because it's buried in all of these notes around the pages. It's okay, don't worry, because as you begin to understand how to decipher those notes, you're going to love them, because they are going to help you make so much more sense of what you're reading. And it's just going to make you understand your Bible more, and you're going to love it so much more. So how do we make sense of those notes and marks that you're going to love? Well, man, let's look at some specific examples, and I'll unpack those next time. So join me as we continue this journey of how to understand your Bible and how to really use a study Bible to your advantage to really understand what you're reading. God bless you. We'll see you next time.